Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're ever wondering what the J stands for, the answer is I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. It's funny starting this podcast. I've been awake now for 4 hours and just realized that these words are the very first words I've spoken today. And so maybe next time I should actually say a few things before I hit record. But it's one of those mornings where I'm up early, I get some introspection time, I get some time to work out, and then it's time to get to work. So I've gone to work and now I'm recording this. And so it just happens that these are the very first words that I've spoken. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening. Last week's AI episode was a lot of fun. I appreciate you checking that out and your likes and comments. But today's episode, I would like to give you several observations I have on my 54th birthday. So if you are on the Capitalize Your Best group, you get this episode a day early. And that means it's the day before my 54th birthday. And then if you're listening to this episode on the day it came out or the day it comes out, this will be on my birthday. But either way, birthday week or whatever the case may be, I am turning 54. I feel great. I'm in great shape. I'm thankful. I'm in a place of life physically and mentally where I'm just super thankful for so many things. As I hit 54, I am not worried one bit. I'm hitting it full charge with lots of steam. So thank you, everybody. And if you have wished me happy birthday, thank you. And if not, do it. Wish me happy birthday. But here we go. It was funny when I sat down to write, I actually kind of planned out this episode, whereas sometimes I just take things off the cuff. I thought, what observations do I have at 54? And these are going to cover the spectrum. They're not related in any way. So some of them are personal, physical, business. And at the moment, I have 4. And at the end of this episode, I might have 1 or 2. One or 2 more. We'll see. But let me start. And these are literally in the order in which they came. Number 1. As you get older, I refuse to say I am old, by the way. Old is a mindset for that. I don't think I will ever say, I don't get my hat straight. What a mess here. I don't think I'm ever going to say I am old. But as I get older, I have noticed physical challenges grow. But that really, and this is a cliche, are you going to tackle them or are they going to tackle you? Now, I've been very open in this podcast about my epilepsy journey. And I think this year mentally, I think I've tapped in some areas mentally that I've never tapped in before, explored understanding myself and thinking in new ways. And that's been incredibly exciting. I'm not ready to really speak about all those things yet. I think that's still forming in my mind. But physically, I definitely went through some challenges this year. I began the year with a hamstring injury, where it's an insertional hamstring tendonitis. So where the hamstring attaches to the butt bone, it was inflamed. And it's just one of those injuries. And I did an episode about it at the beginning of the year that just showed up. I didn't have a moment. This past week, I was watching the highlights of Dak Prescott of the Cowboys hamstring injury, and he's just making a normal movement. And now he's having surgery. I didn't even have that moment. I just woke up one day and I felt gradual like pain coming and coming. I didn't even realize it was a hamstring injury. I just couldn't sit down and I couldn't extend my leg further fully. So all of a sudden, I got shut down. I wasn't running. I think in the month of January, February, I only ran 20 miles, and I do 20 miles on a Saturday. And so there were just, I was like, what am I going to do? I had races and I had things that I had planned on doing. And all of a sudden, I'm going to physical therapy. All of a sudden, I'm not running. I'm having to do things like resistance band exercises, a lot of things that were not normal for me than my normal running routine or even the normal yoga that I do. And so all of a sudden in January and February, March, I had to completely redo how I handle my physical fitness. But here's the thing, at my age, because I have a system and I have a discipline of regular activity, that setback could either tackle me and I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to shut it down and do nothing, or I could tackle it. And my goal was to tackle it. I sat down with the orthopedist. I sat down with the physical therapist. I got wisdom from everybody. I started listening to doctors and runners online and podcasts who have dealt with this injury. And they were very clear about approaches. And some of those approaches did not work, and some of them did. I remember running the Marine Corps half marathon here in town, which in 2023, I ran what's called the Devil Dog Double, which is the half marathon plus another 5, and I won the Masters division, And then I this year was running the Marine Corps half, just making sure I could run a half. So I ran it with no time and no pace, and just was happy to finish. And that began the journey of trying to get back. And so, like, from January to this moment, I've been trying to get my health back and to get my physical fitness back and my running back. In fact, on Saturday, the 16th, I'll be running the Richmond Marathon. And this is my first marathon of the year. Last year, I ran 2 marathons and an ultra marathon. And this year, I haven't run one at all. In fact, I think I've only run 3 races this year, a half, a 5K. I don't, maybe that's it. I don't even remember. I think that's maybe I've run three races. I think there's one more in there. Oh, I ran the July 4th race. So I've only run 3 races this year. I think last year I ran 7, 8, or 9, or 10. So it's been a very different year. But here's the thing: as I grow older, I understand that these physical challenges are going to happen. I'm going to remain physically fit. And even when it's all taken away from me, my physical fitness has been taken away from me completely twice, with the seizures in 2012, and I had to rebuild. And I will count this year as that as well, because in January I could not run. And so twice it's just been taken away from me, where either a month or even with epilepsy, a years long battle to get it back. No one has to do what I do. No one has to go run marathons. No one has to go endurance races, none of that. But you might be in a situation where all you can do is chair yoga. We'll do chair yoga. You might say, all I can do is 5 minutes. Well, then add 5 minutes a day. All I can do is walk. Wonderful, go walk. But for me, I know that these physical challenges are going to keep coming up. I'm not going to let them tackle me. I'm going to tackle them. I think there's a really pivotal year in my physical fitness that really could have set me back. And I'm very thankful for where I am right now. So, number one, physical challenges like this are going to happen more frequently. The question is whether they will tackle me or I'll tackle them. I'm going to choose to be doing the tackling. Number two, business wise. Up until this year, we've been dealing with the economy issues. It was a central point of the election. There's a lot of disagreement about whether the economy is improving. People can't even agree if inflation is lowering or not. It sure doesn't feel that way. But so in business, I capitalize as me doing it full time. Is now a little over 4 years. I've been doing it part-time for years, but 4 years where I'm all in. I think what I'm observing, point number two, is that business seasons are shrinking. Now, people might say, well, this is a season of inflation, and it is, but I'm being more specific than that. I think prior to this year, you might be in a season where things were just, there was a lot of activity together, and you might have months, you might have a whole quarter where, interest is high, or you might have a whole quarter where you're getting great responses online. But I think because of the economy, I think because of the changing nature, the very rapidly changing nature of social media, business cycles have shrunk. It's not even month to month anymore. Like, it is like day to day, hour to hour. You might have a drastically different hour than the morning, and that might always be the case, but I think it's more relevant right now than ever that business seasons are shrinking. I can tell that last week I had the most productive 2 hours of my entire year, where it was a flurry of activity, of phone calls, texts, and messages, and emails. It was very targeted. And the results of those 2 hours continue to play themselves out even this week. But I know that the revenue and new clients and responses from those 2 hours was immense. And I can't go, all right, we're good. I'm like, you know what? That business cycle was 2 hours long. Now let's do it again. Let me build together 1 hour. What do I have to do to do that? So I would say I'm observing that business cycles are smaller. Three, personally, I think I have become more introspective. Um, this past year, or this past month, we took a vacation to the beach, and I love going to the beach, and I usually read lots of books and listen to a lot of podcasts, and I didn't. Instead, I found myself with more time alone, just being introspective. I got to admit, I love a hot tub, and I would sit in the hot tub for as long as it was healthy, and I would just be introspective. In fact, I did a podcast on this. It was like a painful silence. But I think I came out of that with new awareness for who I am and new awareness for relationships and business. And I think that trip was the culmination of what's been going on with me this year, that I'm more and more introspective, that and I'm going to tell you, introspection is painful because it causes you to spend time with your brain, like, who am I? What am I really, what are the quality of my relationships? When you get to that point, I've got a long ways to go. If I continue to pursue this, and I hope I do, you really get to know yourself better, and you get to know others better. And I just realized on that trip, I didn't want to just keep humming through life. I wanted something of more depth and quality and honesty. And so I have found myself to be more introspective. And then observation number four, that I think I've noticed this year, is that relationships of depth are more rare than they used to be, but they're also more valuable. Relationships of depth are more rare, but they're also more valuable. I think what I'm noticing is that there are fewer people that I trust with great intimacy. But the people I do trust with that intimacy, I want to trust them even more so than I have before. That's just probably a getting older reality. It's also a change of career reality. It's also a stage of life reality. I mean, we're almost empty nesters now, and so you find that these relationships of depth, people that you can talk with depth, and they can respond in healthy, constructive ways. I think they are more rare than ever. But they're more valuable. Like, wow, like, you leave, like, I feel connected with, I feel encouraged, I feel challenged, I feel comforted. So right now, guys, those are my four observations at turning 54. Physical challenges are going to come, even more so. But I'm not going to let it tackle me. I'm going to tackle it. Two, business cycles have shrunk. There's not really like strong quarters anymore. It's all the way down to hour by hour. Three, that I'm just personally becoming more introspective, and I want to grow in that, take advantage of that. And then four, relationships of depth are more and more rare, but they're more and more valuable. So, guys, thank you. You've been with me here 6, 7 years. I don't even know how many years now, getting close to 550 episodes. Appreciate you tuning in. For anybody wishing me happy birthday, thank you. And I can't wait to get back to next week. And we've got some interviews lined up really soon. So, guys, thanks so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.